And even apart from the Iran factor, other motivations associated with an Israel-Azerbaijan partnership like oil for arms and recognition of a Jewish Israel by a Muslim-majority country have also become anachronistic.
Oh, this is what you guys were saying. So you guys have a point as well. So it's not, is Iran maybe is the main reason, but also having a Muslim ally that has oil like Azerbaijan gives more legitimacy to Israel. So that might also be a case, but I would say it's like a second, like a distant second.
The Gulf has come to embrace Israel with countries like
Yeah, see, exactly. Like, you think Israel has a problem with Islam now? Islamic countries, it's like getting closer and closer. Like, yeah, they're jerking each other off all the time. Iran has united Israel with almost every other Islamic country in the region.
the UAE and Bahrain establishing diplomatic ties with Israel. Thus, Azerbaijan should now be expendable for Israel. From Israel's point of view, the urge to support a potential Iranian enemy is not very difficult to understand. However, Israel has itself started understanding that Turkey is a bigger threat to the Jewish country.
What? That is an exaggeration. That's so wrong. This video is so wrong. Hold on, listen. So you're like, yeah, I understand. Israel, I understand. You're afraid of Iran and then you're taking positions based on your Iran threat. I understand. But, and this is the argument.
Difficult to understand. However, Israel has itself started understanding that Turkey is a bigger threat to the Jewish country.
How? How on earth do you think Turkey, again, I'm not a big fan of Turkey's government at all right now, okay? And yes, I understand that Turkey is doing expansionism and getting involved in a lot more politics outside of its borders than it used to. But how on earth can you ever argue that Turkey is a greater threat to Israel than Iran? Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? Turkey and Israel, I understand that Erdogan goes and tries to be the champion of the Palestinian people, especially after the Arab countries have failed the Palestinian people, and the Turkey is trying to step in to be like the champion of Muslims, Sunni Muslims all around the world, and try to steal being on the side of Palestinians away from Iran. I understand that Turkey has done that. Turkey has a lot of anti-Israeli grandstanding and virtue signaling and all pro-Palestinian. Like, they use the Palestinian narrative to get sympathy around the Muslim world because Turkey wants to be the leader of the Sunni Islamic world. Iran plays the Palestinians as well. Iran uses a Shia narrative in Shia Islamic countries, but when it comes to Sunni places, it tries to pretend like it's on the side of the Palestinians. Whenever it can't use whenever it can use Shia ideology to win the hearts and minds of the people outside of its borders, it uses the Palestinian cause as a way to do that. And Turkey is like, Iranians are Shia, right? And Palestinians are Sunni. We need to be the champions of where Saudi Arabia and other countries that are supposed to be the leaders of the Islamic world failed, we're going to use the Palestinian cause as a way for us to pretend that we are the leaders of the Islamic world, right? And use that influence around the world. So Turkey, I understand that Turkey is trying to do that, but to be fair, compared to Iran, it's just propaganda. When it comes to anti-Israeli positions that Turkey has, when it comes to execution, they have trade deals with Israel. It's just talk. It's just talk. Iran is the only country that follows the talk with actual actions. Turkey just does grandstand. That doesn't do anything. Turkey is like, yeah, Israel bad, Palestine good, Israel bad, Palestine good, while they have trade agreements with Israel. And, the Palestinian people see that. When I was in Palestine, even atheist Palestinians were saying, yeah, we love Iran because they're the only people the only country that is supporting us. Even atheist Palestinians told me that they love the Islamic Republic of Iran because the only country that is truly and meaningfully supporting them, financially, militarily, or whatever, right? So how on earth can you argue that Turkey is a greater threat to Israel than Iran's government. I don't understand that. Let's see what you guys are saying. You guys didn't. Okay, good. Not seeing much here. Hey, let's continue.
Country. In fact, according to the Times, the head of Israel's intelligence agency Mossad, Yossi Cohen, recently said.
By the way, Mossad, if you're watching this, Mossad, call me. I have some ideas. Call Mossad, call me. I have some ideas on some on how to attack, how to do some, take some positions against Iran culturally, and ideas how to spread some ideas in Iran that would be very much against the Islamic Republic. I'm telling you, your strategy sucks. Okay, call me. I have some great ideas. Mossad, you're listening. Call me.
He said that Turkey is a bigger threat than Iran while talking to his Egyptian, Emirati, and Saudi counterparts. And Cohen didn't exaggerate the Turkish.
Wait, what did he say?
Israel's intelligence agency Mossad, Yossi Cohen, recently said that Turkey is a bigger threat than Iran while talking to his Egyptian, Emirati, and Saudi counterparts.
You guys are morons.
And Cohen didn't exaggerate the Turkish threat. Riding on Recep Tayyip Erdogan's neo-Ottoman ambitions, Ankara.
Yeah, neo-Ottoman ambitions. As opposed to Iran's Shia empire ambitions. Like, you were like, oh yeah, Erdogan has new Ottoman ambitions. Yeah. And Iran has, take your pick, Safavid or Sassanid ambitions, depending on who they're talking to, whether it's the anti-Islam nationalists. Well, we're gonna bring that the Sassanid empire. Oh no, you like a Shia empire? We're gonna bring the Safavid empire. So, the unfortunate thing for Iran is that they have two different empires. One is Shia, and one is pre-Islamic, and their people are split on which one they want to cheer for. I mean, the ones that do want empire building. But Turkey doesn't have to worry about that, because the time when Turkey was an empire, it was a Sunni empire, and they're Sunni now. So they don't have to, like, the narrative that doesn't have to be split. Wait, what is happening?
Has been constantly trying to harm Israel. Recently, Turkish president and wannabe caliph Erdogan.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Turkey's president and wannabe caliph. Again, all these things that you're saying about Turkey is more true about Iran. So Turkey wants to have more influence outside of its borders, and Iran controls the Lebanese government, controls Iraq's government, controls Syria's government, controls Yemen's government. All of these countries have turned into Iran's proxies. And you're like, oh, Erdogan wants to bring back the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, that's what they dream about. Something that Iran has achieved. What is this like? And also, Jerusalem is our city, a city from us. Jerusalem is already split between Muslims and Jews. So this is not a new narrative. This is a narrative by the entire Islamic world. You're like, oh, look, Erdogan wants to do empire building by saying something that all Muslims have been saying from the beginning of this conflict. Like, is this your anti-Turkey fear-mongering? Iran says that compare this to what Iran's government said, that Israel needs to be wiped off the map. You're like, oh yeah, Israel, you need to be more worried about Turkey. They say Jerusalem is our city. So what does that mean? That means if they get Jerusalem, they would be happy. Is that what Iran says? Do you think Iran would be happy if they get Jerusalem? Do you think that would be enough for them? They openly say, no, all of Israel needs to be wiped out. That's what they say. So even your fear-mongering, if you compare it to Iran's government, it doesn't work. Iran is like, Again, I don't say this as a fan of Erdogan. Fuck Erdogan and his Ottoman Empire ambitions. But this is nothing close to the threat of Iran.
Went as far as saying Jerusalem is our city, while referring to the 4 centuries long Ottoman rule over Jerusalem. Erdogan said, in this city, which we had to leave in tears during the First World War, it is still possible to come across traces of the Ottoman.
What? In this city, which we had to leave in tears during the First War, it is still possible to come across traces of the Ottoman resistance. So Jerusalem is our city, a city from us, Erdogan said. Yeah, okay, compare this to what, again, I already answered this. Compare this to what the Iranian officials say.
Resistance. So Jerusalem is our country, a city from us. For Israel, there cannot be a bigger security threat than a Turkish president claiming Jerusalem as a part of his neo-Ottoman ambitions.
Yeah, unlike the Iranian government who wants to do complete genocide on the Israelis.
But what is Turkey doing in Azerbaijan? It is following the same neo-Ottoman ambitions which go as far as claiming Jerusalem. For Turkey,
by the way, YouTube, these are not stuff that I'm endorsing. Okay, I love everybody here in Israel. I do not know violence. I'm just stating Iranian's government's position. Please, please, please do not. I know your algorithm is stupid, so I don't know what to tell your algorithm. Beep boop. I don't know what to tell your algorithm to understand that none of this whole genocide stuff, none of this whole wiping countries out part, none of that was me expressing any of these desires. I was just telling people in my live chat, the wonderful people in the live chat, what the Iranian government officials' positions are. Okay, so please have mercy on this channel, guys. Oh my god.
Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict.
Guys, please subscribe to our newsletter. Link in the description. So if we ever get wiped out of YouTube, I can still reach you somehow. Okay, link to our guys, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free book. You get my book, Why There Is No God. You get that for free. So subscribe to our newsletter to get the free copy of Why There Is No God. Okay,
has a Central Asia link. Turkey lacks a direct link to Central Asia, and the only roadblocks are Armenia and the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. Attacking Armenia and taking control of the Nagorno-Karabakh region is therefore a part of Erdogan's dreams to unite the Turkic world from Central Asia to Turkey under Ankara's leadership. Even from a strategic
and why is that a threat to Turkey?
standpoint,
Why is that a threat to Israel? Why is that a threat to Israel?
Israel is not supposed to be helping Turkey realize its ambitions of uniting the Turkic world, because that would be
okay, you're delusional. Victor is saying, I think you're being naive. I'm almost sure a Turkish occupation would be as genocidal as Iranian occupation. Yeah, you think, yeah, you are delusional. I'm sorry, you're delusional. You're the delusional one here.
the beginning of Erdogan's neo-Ottoman ambitions, which would pose a serious threat to Israel itself. For Israel helping Armenia to weaken down Turkey.
Armenia is India's natural ally, and India must go all out to help it in its war with Turkey and Azerbaijan. Okay, Armenia is India's natural ally, but another Indian's ally is Israel right now. So I don't know if India wants to go up against Israel.
Is a much better.
I'm almost sure. I'm almost sure that India would care about its relationship with Israel right now more than with a tiny country.
Deal than thinking that Azerbaijan would debilitate Iran. And then if Israel thinks that Azerbaijan will help Israel as an ally, it is grossly mistaken. Azerbaijan is an Islamic revivalist nation that would remain Turkey's lackey for a long time to come. Baku will not choose.
So this guy considers the fact that Azerbaijan is Islamic as a warning. Israel, hey, Azerbaijan is Islamic and it's going to remain Islamic.
Israel over Turkey, if and when asked to make a choice. Azerbaijan has been looking to backstab Israel already. Baku has deepened its Iran ties, even though the fulcrum of Israel.
So basically, yeah, this Baku has deepened its Iran ties. This is like basically both Israel and Iran are sucking off Azerbaijanis to be like, we're your allies. No, we're your allies. No, like that's basically what's happening, right? Basically they're both competing against, and Azerbaijan is enjoying it. Like both sides are supporting Azerbaijan, even though they're mortal enemies. They both are trying to like convince Azerbaijan that the other side is evil.
Israel-Azerbaijan relationship is battling a common enemy in Iran. The supply of Israeli arms to Azerbaijan didn't stop Baku. For
The supply of Israeli arms to Azerbaijan didn't stop Baku
example, selling 10% stake in its major oil pipelines to Tehran.
Okay, why would Azerbaijan do that? What the hell? Like, are you? Yeah, sure. Like, hey, we have money coming into our country from Iran, but we got weapons from Israel, so we're not gonna make all this money. Like, yeah, why would Azerbaijan not make money?
Pipelines to Tehran. Iran itself has been looking to expand cooperation with Azerbaijan.
Yeah, especially because Israel is getting involved, so Iran is like, we need to make sure that Azerbaijan doesn't become our enemy. Guys, think about this. If Azerbaijan wants to poke at Iran, it's going to be so easy for them to do that because there's a lot of Azeris in Iran. So Iran is like, Azerbaijan, please don't become our enemies. Look, we're supporting you because it's so easy for Azerbaijan to really make things difficult for Iran. And then Iran is noticing like Israel is showing up in their backyard and be like, hey, Azerbaijan, let's be friends. So Iran is like scared. Iran is like, no, Azerbaijan, no, we're friends. So basically, this makes sense.
Azerbaijan and Hassan Rouhani, the president of Iran himself, considers better ties with Azerbaijan a priority.
Yeah, because of the influence of Israel and how easy it's going to be for Israel to use Azerbaijan against Iran.
Amidst the ongoing conflict too, Iranian officials have expressed support for Baku. So what has Israeli arms supply to Azerbaijan achieved? Baku hasn't really gone out of its way to harm Iran to thank Israel for its support.
Why would they do that? Okay. So Azerbaijan is obviously going to play both. This is exactly what people do if they're being strategic. You have two countries trying to compete for your attention, and you play both sides against each other. This is a classical move in history. It happens every time. You don't fully go on one side. You keep making each side give you more so that you don't fully go on the other side. This is a smart game, smart play, and Azerbaijan is playing that game. Matteo, thank you so much, Matteo, for the super. Wow, $10 Australian super chat. We got a big super chat, guys. A big one. Matteo, you better be rich or you shouldn't be giving us this many super chats. Matteo gave us, and said nothing but a heart. Love for you too, Matteo. $10 Australian. Big super chat. Thank you, Matteo. And look, AGA and Soha is like saying thank you to Matteo as well. Yeah. Guys, by the way, if you ever become a world leader and you see that two countries are competing for your interest, two countries like, scared of some other country becoming close to you, and that's why they're getting close to you, never fully go on one side, okay? Never be like, oh, okay, you guys are giving me, like, always keep them guessing. Always scare them. Like, hey, you give me this? Well, you have to give me more because look what the other side is doing. The other side is helping. I'm going to go. And then you go to the other side like, oh my God, look what the other side is. Maybe I'm going to get closer to them. So this is what you do, right? So, Azerbaijan is playing it smart here.
For its support. Ultimately, if Azerbaijan gets an upper hand over Armenia, Turkey will become stronger. And then Turkey and Azerbaijan would form an anti-Israel axis.
As opposed to the already existing axis of Iran and all its proxies.
Israeli arms are thus creating a threat for Israel itself. It is now for Israel to realize that it is shooting itself in the foot by helping Azerbaijan, which is becoming more and more of a Turkish client state.
No, come on. You're basically telling Israel to focus on a hypothetical long-term threat as opposed to the immediate threat that is Iran's government. Like, yeah, sure, buddy.
Therefore, should remodel its Caucasus strategy and befriend Armenia as against Azerbaijan?
Nope. Wrong answer. Wrong. This video is wrong, but interesting nonetheless.